Good morning, everyone. Hello. So, today I'm going to be, since I'm not there today, what I wanted to do with you is I wanted to go through a review of what we've been talking about. And then I want you to have some time to do some homework. So, yesterday we were talking about changing percents to fractions and fractions to percents. So you'll notice I have a couple problems up right now. These are all percents. We're going to be changing these to fractions. I also have up here is my factor sheet. Now you also have the factor sheet available to you. If you go into our first week's folder, you will notice that one of them says notes. If you go into that notes and pull up that PDF, you'll see that you have also this factor sheet available to you. So if you want to get it out, feel free to get it up on your computer to help you with simplifying, because we are going to have to be simplifying. And in order to simplify, you need to find common factors. So let's go ahead and get started. Here we go. So I have 18%. What we learned yesterday is what we do is in order to take this and put it into a fraction, we're going to take the percent and put it over 100. Now, if you recall, we put it over 100 because the percent sign makes 100, right? But also we put it over 100 because percent is out of 100. So it would make sense to put it over 100. So then what I'm going to do is I got to figure out I need to simplify. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to look at 18. And I look at 18, it says 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, and 18 are the common factors. Well, if I look at my notes from yesterday that we wrote in the book, I'll notice that 100 only has 2 in common. So I'm going to divide the top and the bottom by 2. 18 divided by 2 is 9. 100 divided by 2 is 50. And so therefore my answer is 9/50. Now, if for some reason you're missing your factors of 100, I want you to go ahead, get out of, well, you should be writing these down. But remember, factors of 100 are 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, 25, 50, and 100. Those are all the factors of 100. So you can write those down so you remember, so that when you're trying to simplify, you can always compare. Alrighty, there we go. All right, so then I'm doing 11%. Well, if I'm changing it to a fraction, I put it on top and I put it over 100. Now then I go over to my factor sheet and I say 11 only has 1 and 11 as a factor. So they have no common factors. I'm done. 25. I put 25 over 100. I look over at 25. Whoop. Oh, it's actually off but 25 has 25 as a factor. So I'm actually going to simplify it by 20. Excuse me. I'm going to simplify it by 25. Some of you may have said 5 at this point, but I can actually simplify it by 25. And I get 1/4. Now, if I simplified it by 5, I would get the same answer. I would just have to simplify again. Okay? All right. Oh my goodness, I'm realizing when I just wrote these factors of 100 so quickly, I forgot one. There is one that's missing. Another factor is 20. I'm just going to write it off to the side. I'm so sorry about that. And I realized that because in the next one that's going to come up is 60%. Most of you will go right ahead and say, oh, it can be divided by 10. So we're going to do that one. but it could also be divided by 20. So if I divide by 10, I'm just showing you the long way. I would get 6/10. Now what I would realize is 6 still has a 2 in common with 10. So I would have to divide again by 2. And I get 3/5. Sorry, my face is apparently in the way. Whoops. Okay. So this is changing a percent to a fraction, and then we simplify. This last one, you wouldn't have to simplify at all. And we know that because if we go to 43 here, it doesn't have anything in common. So that is simplifying, or changing a percent to a fraction and simplifying. Now let's try and go backwards. Now if you need to pause the video and review what we just did, pause the video, review what we just did. If you got it and you think you're ready to go on, let's review, or let's go over this. So to change a fraction to a decimal, what we're going to do, or to a percent, we're going to go from fraction, then we're going to change it to a decimal. I very quickly went over this yesterday, and I actually am not going to need my factor sheet, so I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bigger. I change it to a decimal, and then I change it to a percent. Okay, so how do I go from a fraction to a decimal? Well, a fraction sign is the same thing as a division sign, so I'm going to divide. So I do top number divided by bottom number. 6 divided by 8. And when I do 6 divided by 8, what comes out is 0. Oh, sorry, I'm doing this in my head. Divided by, yes, 7/5. Now, we learned last week that 0.75, to change that to a percent, I move that decimal over 2 spots, and I get 75%. So to change a fraction to a percent, I do this in between stop by changing it to a decimal and then making it a percent. Let's try 7/10. 7/10, I'm going to do 7 divided by 10. And yes, you can use a calculator. There are a bunch of these that I'm going to eventually want you to try and memorize, but we are using a calculator right now. 7 divided by 10 is 0.7. Changing that into a percent can sometimes be tricky. We have to remember to move it over 2 spots. And so 0.7 is 70%. Okay. All right, let me scroll down a little bit. And here we go. 2/5. 2 divided by 5 is 0.4. This can then turn into 40%. And then we get our answers. So again, I take my fraction, I divide by making it into my decimal, and then I take my decimal and I turn it into my percent. And there we have it. We've done fractions to percents, percents to fractions. And that's what you're going to be practicing today on Schoology. So you're going to go to Schoology and you're going to complete your homework. That is fractions and percents homework. All right, guys. Have a wonderful day. Bye.